Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Soo-young, Professor of Business at Chung-Ang University. Professor Song, thank you for coming on today.
Yes, thank you for inviting me again.
So on the 15th, this Wednesday, at the White House, the U.S. and China will be signing their Phase 1 trade deal. But reports are saying the U.S. won't be lifting any more tariffs until after the November election. So with that, we've seen a little volatility in the financial markets. What's the story globally and here in Korea?
Yeah, currently the Korean market has shown some declining stock price, overall index, and in the Tokyo also has shown the 0.51% decrease of the stock. So, however, even though the current development in the U.S.-China trade turns out to be some kind of positive aspect, but whereas still the conflict within and between those two countries will continue as long as the two arch rivals does not fully agree with each other for the who will be dominant over the next decades. So that is the main issue of the current market reaction.
Yeah, and we still don't fully know what's in the trade deal. I guess we'll find out at some point soon. But the U.S., meanwhile, is tightening the rules on foreign investment with China in mind. The Treasury Department will be strengthening screening for foreign investors in areas deemed to be a national security risk, such as communications, energy, and data. So there are concerns that could create some new uncertainties. What do you say to that?
Yeah, actually, that is particularly in the Phase 1 deal. Actually, assured China will import and purchase U.S. agricultural products and soybeans, but they do not make any concession for some high technology levels, such as 5G communications issues and Huawei. So clearly, the U.S. Congress hawks are very concerned about the development. Particularly, there is no actual concession with respect to technologically advanced areas. But the problem is the U.S. semiconductor industry has exported their semiconductors to Huawei company very much. So that is kind of some kind of trade-off. However, the problem is what congressmen in U.S. and other experts are concerned is Trump maybe just focus on his re-election as president. Therefore, he make some kind of recess or the concession to the China just to get more votes out of the U.S. people, particularly the agricultural states. So that is main concern that lies, and that could cast a little bit shadow over the prospect. But however, the two superpowers, as far as they are aware of the cost and of the conflicting trade dispute over two countries, therefore, I cautiously expect the prospect will be positive. But for such as outsiders or observers such as Korea and the other economies should be very anxiously watch over with the potential collateral damage of the upcoming dispute. But I cautiously anticipate the truce will continue, and then the situation will be improved in the future.
Got it. Well, back over here to Korea. According to new employment data from Statistics Korea, the employment rate last year at over 60% was the highest in 22 years. For young people, the employment rate was the lowest since 2013. What stands out to you in these numbers, and what do you make of them?
Yeah, actually, that is very good news, and that is totally very reversal of the 2 days ago, the report about among the OECD countries, Korea, South Korea, the people, the youngsters whose age between 25 and 29 has been the unemployment rate percentage is the highest among the OECD countries. That seems very bad, but actually the diagnosis I think is out of the mark, because in Korea the discrepancy of wage is huge between the big giant companies and the small companies. Therefore, the youngsters who are still young look for a chance to get a job in the big companies. That's why the percentage rate of the unemployment among 25 and 29 years relatively very high. But however, after that, the new report about the labor market situation is improving. However, some critics blame that is not a permanent job at all, just a temporary job. The increase does not guarantee the welfare of the people. However, that is, I think, is misleading and out of the mark. The reason is mainly we are in the phase of the job displacement because of the adoption of the information technology and artificial intelligence. Therefore, necessarily, the job market could be prevalent, particularly for the temporary jobs for the time being, until we have totally transformed the economy as a whole. So it takes time. Therefore, until that, we have to endure or persevere this kind of some temporary characteristics of the job situation. That is the typical of the gig economy. So to that regard, I think at least to get a job is good news, and particularly this kind of reversal is a V-shaped return of the labor market and employment market. That could help recover the Korean economy because the aggregate demand is expected to be increased for the upcoming years.
Very interesting, Dr. Song. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thanks so much for sharing your insights. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.